Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. And tonight we're going to talk about the CrossBraining community and how to add lessons to it and how to add lessons into the group. And so at any time, if you want to ask a question or need some explanation, don't hesitate to type it in the chat, and I'll do my best to stay on top of that and answer it. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing that you would do is go to community.crossbraining.com, and that is the home to the lessons and to the community. Eventually, right now this is in beta, and eventually this will all be intertwined into cbapp.us. So it'll all be part of the app. We're hoping to have that slowly move in throughout the year, but I'm hoping to have that by the fall of 2020, all of it in one space. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you sign in, and I'll start using some of these right here. You're going to want to log in and use the exact same login and password that you use when you sign in to cbapp.us. Make sure that both of them are the same. That will allow you to share lessons from the community into the app. So that's number one. Now, when you go in and sign in, the next thing that you're going to do is go to lessons and click the lessons. This will allow you to browse through the different lessons that are on the site. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to just browse through some of the lessons. This lesson right here was added by one of the cohort people yesterday, and this is the lesson called debate process. So they uploaded debate process, envelope letter, autobiography yesterday. So the last lesson that's updated or put into the platform is the one that you will see on this dashboard right here. I'm going to briefly move over to, I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and I'm going to go into the community just so you can see what it looks like. So this is the live version. If you click into lessons, you can see the different lessons that are available. Right now we have we have 3 pages full of lessons. So that's what it looks like. And I'm going to go back into the slide deck. Once you get into the lessons and you click the lesson, the next thing, it will take you to that lesson. And you can see in this slide, it has the details. Is it an inside or outside lesson? Roughly how long does it take? What subject is it? The materials you would use, the key terms, and the grade levels. Next, when you click lesson overview, you'll see that there's a teacher overview and a student summary. This student summary actually would be shared onto your app if you were to click share to my lessons. The teacher overview is more for you to just see if it's a type of lesson that you might be interested in. Once you click the lesson phases, which is right under and I'll actually go back so I can show you, you can see lesson overview, lesson phases, and comments, and the details. When you click the lesson overview, you of course get the overview. When you click lesson phases, this is what you will be naming. You can name the phases whatever you want, but in this debate lesson that we're looking at, the first phase was called difficulty solved. Second phase is practice. Third phase, adjustment. Fourth phase, belief. And then you write a brief description about what goes on in that phase. And you'll see that here are the questions or the reflection questions that were in that phase. So that this is where you're going to see the phase name. You're going to see a description of what goes on in that phase, and you'll see any reflection questions that are in that phase. The next piece is comments. As a as you are the owner of that lesson, you have the right to not allow comments, or you can allow comments, and this will allow teachers that are looking at this to share some input, or to thank you for posting it, or maybe even share some ideas that they have that might go with that lesson. And so if this is, in the end, you saw the details, the lesson overview, lesson phases in the comments, and now you can share that to your app by just clicking share to my lessons. Then when you go into, when you sign into cbapp.us, you'll see it that it's been shared into your lessons, and all the phases and all of that will be there. If you are already signed in and you share it over, you'll have to refresh your page to see that lesson. So let's go to the next one. So now I'm back at the home of CrossBraining community. And when you go and want to add a lesson, you just click add a lesson. Now that you're into the lesson, go to the lesson name and type out the name of the lesson. Anything with red is required, so you have to put in, just an announcement like the lesson name. Check out this lesson on mixtures and solutions. You can, if you want, upload a student video. Maybe maybe you have a video that you want to show in this lesson. You do not have to. You can also upload a thumbnail, and I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. The other thing you can do, you don't have to type in a lesson overview, but we encourage you to just give us an idea what this lesson is about, just a quick summary, and then you can pick the grades that this lesson would work well with. You do not have to do that, but you can. You can also let the person know if it's a lesson that can be done inside or outside, or both. And then, I'm sorry, in the back here, if you want to put in roughly how long this lesson takes. Again, none of those are required, but it can be helpful for those that are looking at the lesson. The next thing, you do have to put in some key terms. That is a requirement. Our standards right now, please ignore that. We're working on a fix to address the Common Core standards and the next generation science standards. There's so many different standards out there. We're trying to figure out how we want to approach that. So you can ignore the standards. You can also type in the types of materials. Next, if you would, the student summary, you don't have to do it, but we encourage you to do it, because this is that part that the student will see. And then when it's dropped into your side of the app, you can edit that. And then this is the part where you start building out the phases. So right here, you click add phase, and I'll show you what happens. It pops open and you give that phase a title. In this part right here, this description, this is a feature we're actually going to work on with the current app, where a student would be able to see what they're supposed to do in that phase. Right now, we currently don't have that feature, but that is a feature we're working on at this moment, so that when they click open a phase, the teacher can give them an idea of exactly what it is they're supposed to capture, narrate, and think about in that phase. This is also the area where you can add reflection questions, and you can click and add as many reflection questions as you want. And then if you want to type out narration, you can, and send that to teachers to let them know how that phase should be narrated. You do not have to do that. And you can put a sample video there if you would like to. And then you would click save phase. Now, if you want to add it, so I named that first phase just 1. I can go back and edit that at any time, and I can remove it. And then I can just keep click add new phases if I have more phases. It right here says you have added 1 out of 4 allowed phases. That you can add as many as you want. If that's not the case, please contact us. I haven't, last year's app had 4 phases, and I will talk with our developers if you have more than 4 phases, so that we can allow that feature to have as many phases as you want. And so here you see I'm clicking in number 2 for the title. And then again, if I want to give a description of what to do in that phase, I have that opportunity to do that in that space. And then again, I would go and type in any narration or any questions in that phase and save the phase, and then just keep going through that process depending on how many phases you have. And then when you're all finished, you'll have all the details, a lesson overview, your phases. In this one, I've actually put a student video in here. Teacher resources, if there's any documents that you want to add to share with other teachers about that project, you can put in here, and any comments you want to leave. So this is one that has video in it. So I named it Plan. I have my description right here, and I uploaded video into each phase. And so right here, you can see the cutting. This is building a table. And then again, I have that 45-second student narrated video. One of the features that we're also working on too currently is making this a lot easier for teachers to share lessons, which means currently you have to build them in the community to share them. And we're working on putting the community into the app so that when you're done building your lesson in the current app, you can just click share. That feature will not be out for a few months, but it is something that we are working on daily, and know that that is our intent, is to make this as easy as possible to share lessons. And so you can see right here, I added a resource, and it says build a table guideline. I put a PDF in there, and if you click it, you can see the PDF pops open, and it gives you a little bit more detail about what to do with the lesson. So any documents that you want to add to that lesson. And so then when you're at the home page, the next step you do is you'd go to the CrossBraining cohort, and you will have to ask to be a part of it because it is a private group. And then within 24 hours, you will have access to the CrossBraining cohort. When you click into the cohort, you can have discussions. You can see yesterday that Craig added two new lessons, or actually added 4 lessons. You can, when you want to share the lesson that you created, so you know, in the previous slides, I showed you how to create a lesson. Now what you want to do is share that lesson. And so you would click share lesson. Again, give it a title that something like you guys got to check this lesson out, or this is a new lesson on plant biology. And then if you want to give a summary of that lesson, you can do that. And then right here, when you click this, what will happen is as you start typing, the lesson that you put into the community will actually appear, and you'll be able to just click that lesson, and then you can publish it into the community, into the cohort side. So there's basically 2 sides. There's the lesson side, and then there's the cohort side. And so then you can publish this into the cohort side. If you don't want to publish it yet and you're just not done, you can go ahead and save it as a draft. And then you can also preview the lesson to see what it looks like on the cohort side. And I'll show you how, when you log in, how to go into and edit some of your drafts of your lessons. So the next thing I'm going to show you is exactly that. I'm going to go into the live version. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. And so if I went to go in, and the first question was, what is the address? It's community.crossbraining.com. And so I'll actually, let's see, I'm going to go ahead real quick and type the answer out for that. Give me 1 second. community.crossbraining.com. Okay, so we're back inside of the community. And so if I were to go click a lesson, you can see there's the lesson name. Those are all the fields. Again, you only have to fill out the fields that have the red. I do suggest that you type out a student summary. That will be very helpful for the teachers. And I'm going to go ahead right now and just type something in. I'm going to do a fake one, call it fake. And then down here, I'm going to save this as a draft. Oh, and it forces me to do key terms before I do that. So I'll do fake. So I'm going to go ahead, save that as a draft. And then what we'll have, so now it's in the unpublished space. And so when I go to home and I want to see my work, I can click my profile over here. I can see the community memberships that I'm in, my history. I can go into edit. I can edit anything about my profile, and I can have a bio and all of that. Now, when I go to lesson library, there's that fake one that I have not sent out yet. I can go into fake, and now I can go in here and edit that lesson. So it takes me back. Again, one of the things I want to make really clear is that this is a beta and that we were building it out so that we could start building out these lessons and then allowing people to share them. But in this next school year, during this next school year, all of this will be on the app side and it will all become one. Over here, we are very aware that this is a not the most pleasant way to search. And so again, we will be doing searching by just typing out what you're searching for. But currently this is more of, again, in that beta phase where we're just trying to test some things out and get suggestions. And we're very interested in your feedback as to what you would want to see in a community like this. But again, if I go through, go through and if I did search something like, if I clicked, let me go to engineering, you would see that it actually brings you up with 3 different lessons that had to do with engineering. I could even say, well, I want to do engineering, but also with force. So now I see a lesson has engineering, and it also includes force. So you can search by grade level. You can search coding. There's 3 different coding lessons. If you chose to do something with materials and you said, I have cardboard, these are different lessons that involve cardboard. And you might even say, I have cardboard, I have duct tape. Oh, here's 3 lessons that involve cardboard, duct tape. And so they are searchable, but this is again in beta, and we will have a search bar for these in our next release when we move it over to the CrossBraining side. So is there anyone that has any questions about how to use the community? If so, I'd be more than happy to take them now. And there's one other thing, so I don't see any questions. I will be putting out a link later this evening to this webinar so that if there's something you want to go back and rewind and watch, you'll have the ability to do that. There was a bug. There's a bug we found this last week actually, that if a student is uploading or screen recording or doing anything with video and is basically clicking buttons, going almost, I shouldn't say too fast, but too fast for our app, it has created a bug, and we think we have that resolved. It happens about it could potentially happen if you have a classroom of 30, it could happen it could happen to a group out of 30. or out of, yeah, out of 30 kids, it could happen to 1 or 2 groups, depending on how fast they're clicking through. To avoid the bug right now, the best thing to do is just let the video upload before they go click into narrate. And like I said, I think we have it resolved, and we're hoping to get it into the production or on your side of the app early next week. And you'll also notice by us fixing that bug next week, you'll see that the upload speed has even improved more, because part of fixing that bug was to make the upload of the video faster, so that we can be faster than the student clicking a button. So there is another question, so I'm going to go ahead and get that one. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for just a moment. Do you have to build the lesson here and on the live app site? No, the answer is no. You can build the lesson on the community and then share it to your app. And that's what I would suggest that you do right now, is to build your lessons on the community side and then just click share to my lesson. So then you're not doing twice the work. If you do build on the app side, the CB app side, right now it's not bi-directional. We can't share it to the community, but that is a feature we are working really hard on getting into the app within the next few months. That we're hoping to get in with the next few months.